This is the DJ Henderson podcast. Today's guest is a good friend of mine who I met my first year ever playing basketball when we were about 7 years old. Since then, she's developed into a high-level soccer player and is currently a freshman at Jacksonville University. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, be sure to subscribe and leave a rating. Haley Woodaz, welcome to the show.
Hello. I'm Haley. I'm from Tampa, and I attend Jacksonville University. I'm on the women's soccer team.
Haley, tell everybody where you're, just about your family, how you grew up, and how we met.
All right. So I grew up in a pretty competitive household. I have two brothers who play all the sports possible. They play basketball, football, soccer, baseball. So we've been pretty competitive. Both my parents played college sports. So soccer was always kind of like my number one. It's always been my favorite. I did play basketball. I ran track. I played volleyball. I swam. But soccer has always been my favorite for sure.
Yeah, you pretty much have done every sport. We met, the first time we met was I think we were probably 7 at WCAA. It's like a rec league where we're from. And you were playing with the guys, with the boys. And you were on our team. My dad was our coach, and we just, since then, we played the whole season, and then we became family friends. Our brothers are about the same age. They're really good friends. So it's been good just seeing all of us grow up and be successful. You guys, just like us, all of us play sports. I know it's very competitive in your house, like you touched on. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, you said you always loved soccer. What was it like when you just finally decided that soccer was what you wanted to put all of your focus on, even though you played a lot of sports?
Well, when I was 10 years old, I really liked softball. So I was kind of iffy about which sport I wanted to choose. And my parents were you kind of, they always have supported me playing multiple sports. But it was kind of at the point where I was you do need to choose one. You're about to go into, middle school. Well, I was in middle school at the time, but you're about to go into high school. You need to choose your number one. And I really did love soccer the most, but I had a really hard coach that really kind of busted my spirits about soccer. So that's when I kind of was thinking about softball, but I truly love soccer the most because I don't know, just everything about it. I've always loved it. I've been playing it since I was 4. So
that coach that you had, you said he kind of hurt your spirit somewhat playing soccer. Talk to me about that and what it was like. Obviously, you didn't stop, and he didn't hurt your spirits enough for you to stop. So what was it like just not quitting and figuring all that out?
Yeah, so at the time I was 14. So I was starting to become a teenager. Everyone's going through a tough time at that point. We're all growing. And so, yeah, I had this really tough coach. Played favorites. We've all had one of those. And he told me I was never going to play college soccer. So that kind of hurt me because I loved it, you know what I mean? And you don't like being told that you're not going to play something that you love. So that kind of hurt me a little bit, but I kept going. And at the time I'm really tall. So at the time I was very lanky and I wasn't fitting into my body. So I was terrible at soccer. So I really was hurt by it because it could have been true. You know what I mean? If I let up, then I couldn't have played college soccer, but I didn't, and I kept going. And when I got into high school, I was playing with all the older girls, the seniors are 18 years old, which is tough going into high school, when you're 15 years old playing against all these older girls. So freshman year, I kind of got used to the speed of the game, and yeah, I just kept growing. And as I got into my senior year, I broke the school record for the amount of goals. So that's just kind of cool to talk about how I've grown as a player, because it could have been very easy for me to just let off the gas and just kind of quit, which I didn't, which I'm very proud of myself for doing that,
I think that just shows your character, your mental toughness, just everything about you. Nobody, I know you personally, so if I never heard that story, but just hearing that story, I could laugh because I know you wouldn't give up or just quit just because somebody told you that. they didn't think that you were capable, and you clearly like put the time in, the effort, the work in to get to where you are. So like I'm definitely like that's a very good story. I'm actually like glad that you shared that. I never really had that kind of like somebody tell me that, but when I first started playing basketball, like when we played at WCAA, I was obviously like I was pretty good, but that was just like rec league. And then as I started playing like travel ball and like more competition and stuff, I realized that I wasn't really that good. So I kind of know what it's like just like growing. Like I grew a lot also. Like I'm pretty tall now. I wasn't always tall, so I know kind of like what you were talking about with just not being comfortable with your body and stuff like that. When you started playing soccer, I'm pretty sure you started like at first in like basic rec league and stuff like that. But as you saw yourself getting better and as you got older, you had to seek out better competition and play like travel ball and things like that. Talk about your travel ball experience and just what it was like becoming a better player, playing against better players, and just your overall travel experience.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of clubs like in our area. So I played at Wesley Chapel, which is close to my house. It's like 10 minutes, and then I played at West Florida Flames, which is like in Lutz. And then I ended up my like last 2 years, I played at Lutz Rangers. And that's pretty much where like I realized that I really did want to play college soccer when I was like a junior. Um, I started to stand out a lot my junior year because I started to notice like all the improvements I got in the weight room sophomore summer. So like the summer after sophomore year. And I just remember my high school coach telling me, she's like, Haley, like the amount of improvements that you've made like over the summer, because I was in the weight room, I was doing extra training, I was training with like other teams, and she was like, the amount of improvement that you've made over the summer is like incredible. Like if you keep doing what you're doing, like you're going to see major accomplishments and you're going to be able to play college soccer. And junior year, that's when coaches are allowed to like start reaching out to you and stuff. So I was a little bit late to the game, I would say, just because I committed my senior year, beginning of my senior year. A lot of people I knew committed junior year. So I felt late to the game, which kind of was a little bit scary because I'm like in my senior year, I'm not committed yet, But yeah, so my junior year, that's when I started noticing like all my accomplishments and like I started to stand out on my club team and stuff like that. So
What did it mean to you when your coach told you that she could see the improvement in your game? I know that you started to see your improvement as you had to put in the extra work that you talked about. Like, what was it like just seeing all your hard work just start to pay off at that point? And then what was it like just starting to get recruited by colleges your junior year, like you just touched on?
yeah, um, it was very rewarding. I loved the feeling of it, but it didn't make me want to stop working. It made me want to work more because I knew I could. I knew I had it in me because I'm not like most soccer players aren't 5'11", and if you are, you can definitely take it and run with it for sure. Like coaches love to see a 5'11" person on the field, whether you're forward, defender, goalkeeper. So I definitely took my height and ran with it because that's an attribute that stands out. And in soccer, you have to have one specific thing that kind of like that's your thing, So I got in the weight room, I got big, and I started to see improvements, which was awesome. It really meant a lot for her to say that to me, because it just made me want to keep working. It made me like feel like my dreams were like in a reachable distance. So
I think as an athlete and as a person, just in general, when you like work hard at something and somebody outside of yourself or outside of like a family member or something like somebody that you maybe really doesn't have too much like of a motivation to tell you something good, tells you something, like it means more, and like it makes you want to work harder, like you said, because that means that other people are noticing the hard work that you're putting in and just what you're giving to the game. So for high school, you went to Carrollwood Day School, CDS. Talk about going there and what your experience was like over those 4 years.
okay, so after middle school, my parents brought up the idea of going to private school, and that was kind of weird because I'm not really a private school girl, but they decided it was in my best interest for like academics wise to go to private school, to go to an IB school. So when I got to CDS, I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any friends, whatever. Basic story, I found my friends, I got all that stuff. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I definitely like grew a lot as a person because I always like tell people this. I really liked how I went to public school for like my first beginning years of school, and then high school was private because I kind of like see two different sides of like the world, you know, like public school being in Wesley Chapel and then being in downtown Tampa with like all these private school kids. I definitely see like the difference in people, and I think it's made me grow as a person because I can like adapt to a whole bunch of different personalities now, which is kind of awesome, which I've been able to bring to college as well because there's a whole bunch of different personalities on our team, which helps a lot.
I think that's major. I kind of did something similar. I kind of did the inverse. Like my whole life growing up until high school, I went to like private schools, charter schools, stuff like that. And then like when it was time for me to make the decision to go to high schools, like obviously my parents wanted me to go to like private schools, but like I just like for some reason like I don't like it was a good decision in the end. Like you can't go back and change anything. But at that time as a kid, I was like I just like I was so stuck on going to a public school, because like my whole life I've been at private schools, charter schools, so it was like I never got the full experience of like what school is like. So then going to Wharton High School, like everything, like you just said, you see like a lot of different types of people, different races, colors, like whatever. Like it's just so many different people. It's like the real world. That's what I feel like. Like just going to public school is more like the real world, and then going to private school is like you said different, and you just get to like get the best of both worlds, like you said, and just kind of like grow as a person. I think it definitely helped me grow as a person, seeing people like less fortunate, the same, like all kind of different things like that. So I definitely agree with that.
I think it's awesome that like I can like form different connections with people too. Like I wouldn't be going to JU if I didn't go to CDS because of the academics aspect of it. Um, so I think it's awesome that like the amount of connections I have in Wesley Chapel and in Tampa, I've met like so many people, and my brother's going to Jesuit now. Like we just know so many people like around the area, which forms a lot of different connections, which can even go to a greater scale even later in life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I think relationships are like the most important like form of currency that you can possibly have. Like there's money and then there's all these other things, but like I feel like the power of a relationship is like kind of unmatched, because like a relationship can get you in a door that money necessarily might not be able to. So like I think that's major. And I think also like Wade and Drew going to Jesuit and like becoming like their own people, like I think that's big time too. It's the same with my brothers, like it's the same way. I like the way everything's going.
yeah, exactly.
You mentioned CDS being an IB school. Tell everybody what that kind of means, and just talk about the like how rigorous academics was at CDS.
Um, so IB is higher than AP. Um, it's kind of like a competition between IB and AP schools. So that's kind of funny to me because IB is definitely harder. The amount of like work we have to do. It was a very stressful senior year, to say the least. But Corona kind of helped in a way because we didn't have to take our exams. So that kind of helped. But at the same time, it kind of shifted our focus all over to our assignments, which if you weren't working hard at the beginning of your senior year, then it was kind of like, all right, you lost. You know what I mean? Because you have to work hard the whole entire year, which that kind of taught me a lesson, honestly, is you got to stick it through the whole time because you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, so schools, it was definitely difficult. My most stressful year was sophomore year for sure because I was getting used to the academics, you know, of like switching from public school to private school, not even just private school, but an IB school. You know, I wasn't used to like the workload and all that stuff, but I was always doing homework. I always kept my grades up, which is pretty good. So
Yeah, doing like staying on top of your grades and just keeping like the best grades you can, it really takes you. It can take you very far as athletics and just academics. Like if you can distinguish yourself as a good student, like it gives you more opportunities as far as recruiting and stuff like that. Like you can have a better selection of schools that can even possibly recruit you. Like if you don't have a certain GPA, there's like certain schools like that literally just won't even give you a chance. So it's definitely important to stay on top of your grades going into college.
Hmm.
So you decided to go to Jacksonville University, JU. What were some of the main things that went into your decision going there?
I loved the competitive aspect of the team. I loved that because last year we had like a losing season, and this year they're looking, well, not this year, but like this upcoming years, they're looking to turn it around, and I really wanted to be a part of a program that I could say we turned it around. We went from losing every single game last year, not winning one game, to hopefully winning a few this year, and then hopefully winning an ASUN championship in the future. So I loved that part, and I just loved the campus. I really did. It's on the water, which is beautiful. It's in the city. You can go to the beach, um, and I loved like the like urban aspect of it too. Like there's like murals everywhere on the city, and yeah.
I think that's pretty interesting because a lot of recruits, like players like yourself in any sport, if they're getting recruited to play at that level, a lot of the times they would kind of shy away from a program that had a losing season prior or haven't been doing so well. But I think that kind of shows the kind of person you are. Like I said earlier, you're willing to take on a challenge. And I think that you definitely like will put in the time and everything like you've been doing. And I hope that you guys have a better season this year than last year.
For sure, we will.
What are some of the main differences as far as academics and playing soccer that you've seen coming from high school to college, from CDS to Jacksonville?
The academics aspect has been a very easy transition because high school was kind of harder for me than college has been. Right now, I'm taking on my prereqs, so it's not a big deal. But the athletic aspect has for sure struck me a different way. Um, it's a whole new ball game, and I didn't realize that it was going to be. Everything is so much quicker. Like everything that you're used to in high school, you used to be the best, you used to be the biggest, you used to be the strongest. Everyone's the same here, and it's just like now it's like competition. You are fighting for your spot no matter what, and I think that's been my biggest battle for sure. Is I'm like with a group of people who are all the same driven. They're very driven, and they all have the same goal in mind, which I wasn't really used to when I was at home. I was on a competitive team that only two people went and went to go play college soccer, and now everyone's here and everyone's driven and everyone's always wanting to get a spot on the field. So yeah.
I think that's the biggest difference between college at any level and high school. Just in college, everybody on your team is a solid player. Everybody was somebody wherever they're from. Everybody's from different places. Everybody wants to get on the field or get on the court. So like it's always just like even if you prepare well, like coming into college, you're never gonna be all the way prepared just because like you never seen anything like it. Just everything from like the small things all the way up is just more intense. Like you just said, the game's faster. Just everything is just like a step up. So I think just preparing to come into college as much as you can is always good. And then once you get to college, just quickly like getting over the learning curve and just adjusting to all the things that you have to do, no matter what level you're going to, like just adjusting to the like level that you have to play at and just be at all times. Just as a student athlete, I think once you adjust to that, everything is pretty smooth. So since you've been at Jacksonville University, obviously even before you got there, COVID has been going on all around the world. How has the COVID pandemic changed your mindset as an athlete and just as a person overall?
um it's definitely changed my perspective on college for sure because I can't do a lot of the things that normal college people get to do, or college athletes get to do. Like play in a fall season. Like I haven't gotten to play in a fall season, but on the other hand, it has for sure allowed a lot of the freshmen to earn a spot like on the field, which has been very fortunate. Um, it's been unfortunate for like pandemic reasons, but it's been fortunate for athletes in fall season because we've been training. We've gotten 4 months used to like the college level, and I think that when we get to like our spring season, when we get to play spring, that a lot of the freshmen are gonna like be able to play. Which if we just came right into it in fall, then I probably wouldn't be playing because I haven't gotten used to the college level, I wouldn't be pushing myself as hard as we've been, because it's been a long preseason, and preseason's never fun. So I definitely have learned a lot, and I've like grown a lot in the past 4 months for sure.
I definitely agree with you there. I'm a sophomore, so I've done 1 year already, but like just having all this extra time with us starting in January, usually we would be playing our preseason like jamborees and stuff right now. We would already be getting ready to play our real games probably in November, so in a couple of days. Um, so like I think just all this extra time for anybody that's like an athlete is just a good opportunity to just keep getting better and keep improving so that you're as ready as you possibly can be for the season when you start. Um, so I definitely agree with you there. The NCAA granted everybody playing winter and fall sports an extra year of eligibility. So I know you've heard about that, of course. So what do you think about that?
So I'm a nursing major, so I'm gonna have to do some school after I graduate. So the extra eligibility is awesome for me because I get to play one more year. So I enjoy it because I'm here one more year and I get to use it towards my academics and athletics. So
Right. I kind of feel the same way. They announced for junior college, it was the same thing I think like a day after they announced it for NCAA sports. But like next year, I plan to be transferring to an NCAA school. But I also just think the same thing. I think it's pretty much a blessing just to have another year of free school, another year to play sports and just do what you love to do and get a degree also.
yes, exactly.
What are some of your goals heading into your freshman year?
So this week actually, I've been playing forward my whole entire life, and this week I have been changed to a center back. So one of my goals for my freshman season is to get the position down. Um, I just changed this week, so I'm learning, which is crazy because I'm in college and I'm playing a whole new position that I've never played in my life.
Right.
So it's definitely gonna have a lot of impacts on me as a player because I've never played there before. So I'm gonna have to get that down and hold it down back there because it's the last line of defense. So
For everybody that doesn't know a lot about soccer or is less knowledgeable, can you tell everybody the difference in the two positions that you're being switched from?
yeah, so forward is where you score all the goals. It's at the top of the of the field where you run everywhere, and that's what I struggled with was the fitness aspect because I've never played this level before. And so me and my coach had a talk, and obviously I was a little upset about it because no one likes being told that they need to switch positions because you aren't fit enough. So but it's kind of good that I'm able to realize because I was struggling, and when you're struggling you don't have fun, and I wasn't having fun, which sucks because it's my first year of college. So I wasn't having fun. Me and my coach had a talk, and he was like what's up. I was like, I'm just not enjoying it. I'm just not, because I'm not performing to my best ability, and it's a whole new ball game, and I can't like get used to it. So he was like, so what do you think about switching positions to center back? And I've always been told I'm a center back from since when I was like 10 years old. And I was like, no, I'm a forward, I'm a forward, I'm a forward. Like, like you can't switch me. And I get to college and they switch me to center back. So center back is like the last line of defense near the goal. It's the last person before the goalkeeper. So basically you go against all the forwards who are trying to shoot and score. And so basically I have to hold it down back there. So
I think just knowing you, I think you'll figure it out. You'll probably mess around and be all conference or something like that your first year playing a new position in college. It's not an easy, I know it won't be an easy task because switching positions at any level isn't really easy, but at the college level playing Division 1, like I know it'll probably be tough, but I think you'll be able to do it for sure.
yeah.
I also think that it's pretty cool that you had that relationship with your coach, that it seemed from what you said it was pretty easy to just talk to him and tell them what was on your mind and like be able to formulate a plan for you to be feeling better and also performing better, as well as a way to help the team. I think your coach probably, from the sound of it, is a good coach and somebody you have confidence in.
Yeah, for sure. When he put me back there, he was like, it's okay to mess up because I'm really hard on myself, especially because when you're at a high level and you're not doing well, you tend to get really negative, you know? So he told me, he's like, you're going to mess up and that's fine. You know what I mean? You're going to make mistakes and that's fine. You just got to learn and grow from it. This is your first time playing this position, so don't be afraid to make mistakes. And I went out there the first practice and I don't even know how I pulled it together, but I did it. And everyone was like, great job, Haley, because it was my first, it was my first time. So it's
Right.
definitely rewarding to see. And it's more enjoyable now because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying playing well again,
I think just doing stuff for the first time and just taking that first step is always like the scariest part or the hardest part. But like once you like actually take that step and you just keep going and keep building on whatever you're trying to build up, like just seeing your progress, I think is just like very fulfilling. So I know that you feel good about that.
Yeah.
What's your why, or what motivates you to keep going hard even though you've achieved so much?
My family. As cliche as it sounds, I love to make my parents proud. I love the little comments by my brothers of like, yeah, that's fire. Like you're raw. You know what I mean? Like it's just little stuff like that that really keeps me going, honestly. Like the fact that my brothers can like say that I play like a college sport, it just means a lot to me. And I just love making my parents and my whole family proud, that I'm playing a college sport.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I just like to set the bar high for my brothers and let them like just see that it's possible and hope that they just achieve more than I do. And I think the same thing, just make my parents proud too. What is it like being the oldest sibling? How is it from your perspective, just like setting a good example for your brothers and just doing well?
When I was younger, I used to be very controlling towards them because I tried to act like the mom of the family for some reason. But um, now I think it's weird. They teach me more than I teach them, I feel like, because I don't know. I just feel like boys at that age are very open-minded to everything, So they teach me a lot, whether it's like relationships, athletics, family, literally anything. They teach me so much, and it's like awesome to have. I love being the oldest and being a girl and having two younger brothers because it's definitely a different perspective on literally everything. Like I could say something and they could say something completely different, and I'm like, oh, like I understand that now. You know what I mean? So it's awesome to see two different perspectives. As much as I like, or as I'm older, but they act older. They like teach me more, and for some reason I feel like they're wiser. But yeah,
I feel like, yeah, like since I've been in college and stuff, I haven't, like, I've been around my brothers less. It'll be something that you're going to start to get used to. But like now when I come back and I'm around them, like I like to just like, just be around them and just like hear them talk and just like, just watch them, just see what they're like, see what they're up to, just because it's like, you just want to catch up. And then you just also, it's cool just seeing like them grow up and just be their own person and like what they think about certain things and what they like to do and like what you were doing at that age and all the different aspects of all of that.
it's crazy the amount of accomplishments that they've had like at their age versus like me at my age. It's just like awesome to watch, and I feel like a proud mom because I'm like in college watching them like do all these like cool things. You know what I mean? Playing football or whatever. But yeah, it's like awesome to watch it.
Definitely. Um, what would be your number one piece of advice to somebody that's like up and coming that's trying to make it?
I would say always stay positive. Always. It's very easy to get negative, especially when you're on the field competing with people who are just as good as you. But you have to remind yourself that you're here for a reason, and you got here for a reason. You got to keep working. It's not going to come easy. My dad always tells me that I'm going to face adversity. I'm going to face adversity no matter what in life. So it's just the way you handle it, and it's the way like how you solve the issue.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Mr. Todd and Miss Shannon.
Yes.
Um, so now we're gonna do the speed round. Just a couple quick questions. Just let me know what you think.
Okay.
What's your number one favorite thing to do in your free time?
Nap.
Nap. Sleeping is definitely important in college.
Oh yes.
Who are your top 5 favorite music artists out right now?
Top 5. Number 1, Polo G. Juice World. Don Toliver. Travis Scott. Pop Smoke.
I like that 5. That's different. RP Pop Smoke and Juice WRLD.
Yes.
What do you see yourself doing after soccer?
After college soccer,
Yeah.
having a family, but that's a little bit further down the
Aww.
road.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh my gosh. That's
I knew you were gonna say that.
y'all haven't seen The Fault in Our Stars. It's the saddest movie you'll ever watch. But it was a pretty good movie. I'm not gonna lie. I did watch it in middle school.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. If you could have one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Cheese pizza with ranch.
Okay. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Either to be invisible or to be able to mind read.
That's tough. Mind reading, invisible. Those are probably the most popular answers.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest thing that you want to improve on the field this year?
I want to be an impact player. I want to be someone that my team can count on.
Who's been the biggest influence in your life this far?
My mom and my dad. I don't have one. I can't choose.
Yeah, that's okay. I definitely understand.
Both for different reasons.
Yeah, for sure. Last question. If you could meet and spend a day with 3 people that are dead or alive, who would they be and why?
My grandma, because I would love for her to let me know how proud she is of like all my accomplishments. Who else? Probably Juice WRLD, honestly. I love Juice WRLD, so and probably like Tobin Heath, just to like talk to her about her upbringing of like soccer. She's a soccer player on the U.S. Women's National Team, and she's raw. So I would love to get to know her and see like how her upbringing with soccer came about.
For sure. That's a pretty solid top 3. I like that. RIP Juice WRLD again.
Yes,
for sure. I like that top 3. All right. Well, Haley Woodaz, that's about it for the show. I want to say thank you again for being a part of this, supporting me and what I'm doing. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
All right. Haley Woodaz on Instagram. And that's all I got.
Everything, I'll have her Instagram down below. You guys follow her, do all that kind of stuff. Haley Woodaz, Jacksonville University Soccer. See you guys on the next episode.